And great to be with you for the First Division Footy Show on GameFace. Thanks to OBrien Real Estate. Wonderful to have Footy back. And we welcome Wayne Cap back as well after he was gone, of course, for a couple of weeks before we had the lockdown. And Cavi, great to have the Footy back and welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Stan. It was great to be back. And unfortunately, I was probably one of the only supporters going around who didn't walk their dog on the weekend and go and watch the footy. But
Dan walked his dog a couple of times on the weekend.
I wonder if people actually decided we'll go and buy a dog on Saturday morning because we'd like to go to the local footy. Because you could go, because most of the grounds, of course, are public land, aren't they? I mean, you can actually go to the park and watch the footy. Correct.
Yeah, no, a lot of people went, but next week we're open slather, I think. I'm pretty sure. So, crowd's back. We'll get back to normal this week.
Hello, Hawks.
Hey, mate, and just to fill in, Lockers sent in that There's a Fraction Too Much Friction was better than I See Red from a Split End song. It wasn't Split Ends, mate. It's Tim Finn was solo artist, wasn't he?
On Fraction Too Much Friction.
Yeah, that's right. So Lockers, pull your head in.
And also Made My Day was another solo hit for Tim Finn as well. This is from the Second Division show, which you missed. You'll get a chance to have a look at as well. We talked about that. Now, OBrien Real Estate, our major sponsor for the First and Second Division footy shows with over 9 locations across the Mornington Peninsula. OBrien Real Estate will be able to achieve the best price for your sale or rental backed by a myriad of experience. Now, on the show this week in First Division, some heart stoppers and some blowouts this weekend of Division 1 footy. Lachie Gilbert joins us after Bombeach's big win over Edithvale Aspendale, one of the plethora of stars they've got in the midfield at Bombeach, and one of the reasons why they're one of the premiership favourites as we're into the second half of the season. Mount Eliza break Bomber Hearts with a 1-point win. Incredible game of footy. Great second half by Jared Grant. Single-handedly brought the Bombers back into it. And then we'll talk about it a bit later. Then amazing. Probably the easiest shot that he had for the day, but you can't be too critical because some of those hard shots were amazing that he kicked goals with. You're right, Holtz, in the third and also last quarters. Dramana square the ledger with Red Hill in another close match and keep their slim finals chances alive. We'll go around the grounds. We'll have the MVP.
Rubbish.
And we'll also have the tips. We welcome Lachie Gilbert from the Bombeach Footy Club. Welcome, Lachie. 67 Premier data points on the weekend, 18 disposals. Must be happy with the way the team's playing.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Long time between visits, but it's good to be back.
You've been here before, haven't you?
Yeah.
I remember when you were back in.
a little while ago.
Is it what you have to get 67 Premier points to get into the show these days? Because Dale Alanis had 67 as well. Is that a lucky number or something?
Must be.
Favourite number.
Tom Curran had him in one quarter.
He did. He had 237 Tom Curran and Kringle. Yeah, something like that.
Lucky I had him as my captain.
No, the team's going well.
Yeah, no, we're very happy with how we went on the weekend, and yeah, it's been good this year. We've had a couple of slip ups. I mean, we haven't lost a game by more than a goal yet, so we're happy with the way we're going.
And you've had those 2 slip-ups without Trent Dennis-Lane. Is there a reliance up forward on TDL?
I mean, I get stuck into Trent at training whenever he misses a game. I let him know about it, but no, I don't think there's much of a reliance. We've got other players down there. Joey Fisher is another big forward for us. Obviously, it does help having Trent down there, though, but I think we can do it without him, but yeah, the stats would probably show otherwise.
Now, Lachie Gilbert with us for Growth Syndicates Australia, helping you create wealth by leveraging existing and available funds to build a substantial financial future. Wayne Cap and Chris Holcomb have got some questions for our guests.
Just on that, it is quite interesting that the 2 games you have lost, Trent wasn't playing, and I've watched you play a few times, and Trent's played very well in those games, and your structure is set up really well when he's there, and when he's not, you have to change it a bit because Joey's a bit of a different player than Trent. Obviously, Trent's able to move up and down, but look, you don't want to be missing him too much. I don't think you've got the firepower up the middle of the ground, and like you guys you're playing your high half forward role, as you're saying. You've got Macca playing a more of a forward role as well. You've got that down pat, but I think it seems to me from just watching from the outside in that Trent's super important for you guys.
Yeah, and I think it is hard because we obviously train to have Trent in the team.
Yeah.
So he's one of our deeper forwards, and we do work around that. And obviously his experience and level head down there does help. But again, like we'd like to hope that we're not relying on one player. But again, it is hard when we're training with him in the team, and then he's not playing those weeks that he has to go to the VFL.
So you were missing him against who? What were the games?
So we lost against Bombers and Dramana.
That's right.
Yeah. So both those games, it was super close. So one could have gone either way.
Good opponents.
But yeah, I don't think it's super. We're not super relying on him. But again, it helps to have him in the team, and he gives us good options going forward, and the boys look for him when he's in.
Just with a couple more blokes I wouldn't mind talking about. Matty Douglas, we spoke about just before the show. He seems to be just the most reliable defender going around, and
he's.
Tell us a little bit about Matty and how he's going.
I think he just flies under the radar. He's
Not
one of
with
those.
Cappy.
He's one of those underrated players that people don't talk about, but every week he does a job for us. He's consistent every week, so he's one of our more valuable players. And he did a job on the weekend again, and he does it every week. So
you have a few of those guys. Just you got your superstars in that team that we all talk about all the time. But guys like Verma, Lucky Verma, I'm a big fan of.
Yep.
Back in the day, we were really trying hard to get him down the stone catch, but
Of course you were.
couldn't match the paycheck. I don't think.
No, you
But,
can't.
whatever
You
it
don't
was.
pay it the stone.
I like the word unobtrusive to describe Matt Douglas, which means understated or underrated. It's a good word used in footy for those defenders who do a job every week.
And they're as important as your guy who's picking up the 30 possessions. They stop it forward.
Well, I think that's the thing with getting these new guys in as well from Saints and the other well-known players that we have. You've got the depth to bomb each. I think that's why we do well, but it's players that people don't talk about, but they're valuable to us within the team. And they're players like Matty Douglas and Benny McLean down back as well. Those two work together so well. And then the list goes on. You've got Corrigan, you've got Mitch Jen, and then that's...
And Lockie Stennings seems to be getting better and better every game.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
how old's he now? He's only 19.
2021. I
He
think.
played the 2018 Stingrays flag, so he probably wouldn't even be 21 yet.
He's super. He's one of our more exciting players in the team, and I really like having him off the back line because it just gives him a bit of freedom to go. We don't have a super fast back line, so having him there gives us a bit of run from behind the handball receives and things like that. So he's been doing.
Tell you who else is another one of those players, and the old bags were talking about him on Monday night. Dale Carpenter actually had him in his team of his team that he'd pick out of local footy, Jackson Casey. I've always been a massive fan because he's one of those guys who's really a defensive-minded midfield runner who push hard back, which if you've got all the superstars getting forward and want to be the hands in the air and kicking the goals, you need that guy too, pushing back.
Yeah, well, he's pretty well set as a backman now on that back flank. And, I reckon it's a great choice.
Yeah.
Obviously, it happened because we're pretty stocked in the midfield.
You are.
But I think that was a move that probably should have happened anyway. He's our captain, and he shows those kind of captaincy things by going back with the flight and getting his body in front of forwards. So I like him down back. And
he's a belter.
He's a great leader.
And how have you adjusted too, mate? Because you were Hughesy's love child, and he said that to me on many occasions after the game of coaching against him. I said, how's that Lockie Gillenreef going? He goes, I love that kid. He's so good. So you've gone from the love child. How's the new coach treating you? Are you still under his wing, or you have to work a bit harder?
Yeah, got to work a little bit harder with Connells. So I work with Connells. So I teach as a CRT teacher at the same school as Connell, so we get along really well. But he doesn't show me as much love as Hughesy did.
Hughesy loved you so much.
But no, it's still got a good relationship with Connell. Yeah.
What did you learn about your footy playing at Frankston?
I think I learnt that there's probably a bit more to footy than getting the ball. I think with Frankston, I never stayed in the team because I was getting high touches. Most weeks I was getting maybe 8 or 9, 10 touches from the half forward. But I just stayed in the team because I was doing those defensive things, the tackles, the chases, the pressure and things like that. And that's what I've brought back to local footy. And, I mean, yeah, it's a little bit, I wouldn't say easier, but I guess the speed isn't as, it's not quite there as what VFL is. So I can make a few more tackles, get a bit more pressure on at local level. So they're probably the things that I did learn playing VFL. Yeah.
It was a good win by Bomb Beach on the weekend. They were inaccurate, so maybe some goal-kicking practice. 15-26, 1-16. The Eagles 7-6-48. There was an incident which left young Jack Sullivan concussed, and checking the injury update for Anytime Fitness as we look at the highlights for HP and CP Electrical.
Good highlights.
Some excellent highlights. This is a very good side, Bomb Beach, as we know, and for the second time this season, they did it in round 1 in the heat on Good Friday against their arch rivals Edith Vale Aspendale. And the two teams do not like each other one iota, and obviously
it is.
Obviously it didn't help that Jack Sullivan was concussed. Lockie, how's he going?
Yeah, I spoke to him at training on Tuesday night, and yeah, he was still a bit unwell, a bit of a headache still. He spent the night in hospital.
Probably won't play this week.
Oh,
He will definitely not play this week. No, he's definitely ruled out for this week, and you'd almost say that he would probably be looking at another week off after that, just because of like what happened. He stayed overnight at hospital with scans, and he said he had a bit of a stiff neck and still a few headaches and things the next day. So
Dan was a bit stiff Saturday night as well.
a bit worrying.
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
Nice quiet night. Thank you
Okay.
very much. Was it tough on? Do you think it was a fair hit that they're both going for the footy, or there's a
Got
bit
a new
more to
level.
it, Lockie?
I mean, I didn't get it in real time. I heard it. I was on the ground, but I didn't see it. And I've watched it back, and I think the action you can see that it probably wasn't quite fair.
Oh, that's controversial. Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, it's hard to see in the replay as well what exactly happened. But yeah, I mean, he's only a little fella. Not to say that you can't, hit him like normal, but it was probably to the head, and he's going to spend a couple of weeks
you know
out.
that?
So it's
Yeah.
it's a tough one.
He's a loss for you. Now, David Armitage didn't play because of family, but he'll be back this week, just adding more depth to this midfield. He's been wonderful, the former Saint. Blaine Coates had an illness, another very good player, expected to be available. Tom Hogan, test for his ankle, as we check the injuries for Anytime Fitness. James Carcasey, wrist injury, 3 to 4 weeks. Braden Chappell, ankle, 2 weeks. And Will Dunn, a back injury indefinite. So, Cap, he's a bit of an injury list there, but they've just got so much depth.
Yeah, they have. And, they can fill holes all over the place. It's a great lineup. And I've watched you guys play, a few times, and it's great footy to watch. I watched you against Red Hill, up at Red Hill, on that big ground up there, and that was one of the highest standard games of footy at local level I've seen. And the ball movement up and down the ground was fantastic. So you've got Tom Hogan out at the moment. Sam Gilbert played in the ruck. Was he handy playing that role?
He just brings his own footy.
I can imagine he'll stay in there for this. For the next.
Tommy
few
might
weeks.
be shaking in the boots.
He just brings
Well,
his own
Tommy's
football.
out. Yeah, he just worked very well in there for someone that's not a ruckman, and he wasn't even. Most of the time, he wasn't really even jumping to get it. He was grabbing it. He was letting the other ruckman tap it, and getting his own midfielder ball. So he was very handy in there, and it was like having another midfielder in there.
It was great to see Joey Fisher bob up with Fox. I rate him, unlike Cappy. Cappy can't stand him. He reckons he's horrible. But
I do not.
But I've had a lot of time for Fish over the time. It's good to see him pop up with 5.
Did he kick 5?
He kicked 5.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, very handy.
I didn't
I
realise.
rate the big fella.
And I meant that Trent Dennis-Lane didn't have to be the P in the pod. He kicked 2. You're an idiot, Hulks. Shane McDonald had 29 touches and 9 inside 50s. I'm going to ignore you from now on, except ask you to contribute to the show. While Sam Gilbert, as we said, had 34, had 8 hit-outs. As we look up on the screen now, the Frankston Jeep, a new segment for us for the second half of the season in the MPNFL Footy Show, thanks to O'Brien Real Estate, player of the round. for Premier Data, 34 disposals, 8 hit-outs, 9 clearances, 129 Premier Data points, the former St Kilda player. And what a good player he was at the Saints, and what an excellent player he's been since coming to the Sharks this season. For Eddie Asp, Charlie Martello's having a very good year, 29 possessions to be their top disposal performer and getter. And Mick Meehan, who received, he was given a hard time by a couple of Bomb Beach supporters and people on the bench when he came off with Steve Mannix. And he was their only multiple goal scorer with 2 from 5 touches. But a bit disappointed there, Eddie Asp, Cappy, because their form up until the lockdown was reasonably good.
Yeah, that was a bit of a kick in the backside for them. They've got to bounce back from that and pretty quick. You know, they've got to battle on to save their skin in Division 1. And, you know, they're capable of pinching the game off, you know, most teams. So they've got to just forget about what happened against Bomb Beach on the weekend and move on from that, and I'm sure they will. I was about to say, Bussy was very quiet, obviously held well by the, you know, Bomb Beach boys in the back line. Mannix, you know, he was in amongst it again. I could see he had 18 or so possessions, which wasn't too bad. And, you know, let's just put that one behind them, I would think.
I mean, when you have a midfield like Bomb Beach, Chris, it's got the depth, and Eddie doesn't have the depth, you know which way the result is going to go. I think that Eddie Asp have got to admit that Bomb Beach is just a much better side than them this year, and you can basically wipe the slate clean and just start again.
Correct. And can I just say another thing with Edifel, Nick Garland, he's coming on and having a really good year as well. He's a really good kid. Where did he play on the weekend? Was he back, or did he get played up through the midfield?
No, he was down back most of the time, and I think they tried to get him as free as they could. Kept him pretty high, and he was doing
well. They had
his own
24
thing down
touches, and he's had a really good game. He's still a young kid.
He played very well.
Got some good size about him. He's a really good player. So they got some upside either fail, but come up against a very good side.
Now, a match of the day was an absolute corker at Mount Eliza. Bombers' hearts broken in a classic. Now, Frankston Bombers were very, very poor in the first half as we look at the highlights for HP and CP Electrical. And bouncing ball goes through for a goal, a wonderful goal to Mount Eliza. And for me, Mount Eliza are just that team that gets the job done. And I've written an article in the GameFace Game Day Record, and on the front of it, welcome back to Tigerland for the Seaford team in 2nd Division. Their first home game at RF Fisher Reserve for 4 years. As we see Harnett kick a goal for the Bombers, but they were 1-9-15 at half-time. They had 6 scoring shots in the first quarter without a goal. Mount Eliza went forward and kicked 2-2, so they were efficient and dominated, led by 34 points, boys, in the third quarter, and then Jared Grant got going. He kicked 3 goals in 3 minutes, beginning the fight back, and they took the lead in the last quarter. He kicked an unbelievable goal from the stoppage in the last quarter. Cam Price, though, 2 goals on debut for Mount Eliza, parry and thrust. And then the enigma, Chris, of Jared Grant.
You stole mine.
He took the big mark in the goal square after Khan Haratuku had taken a very good mark a couple of minutes earlier. Dished off a hand pass to Seth Harris, who wasn't watching, and they managed to lock it up, Mount Eliza, when all big Khan needed to do was go back and kick the goal and put them in front. Jared Grant takes the mark. He's 25 metres out, looking to kick his 6th and give his team the lead and probably the win inside the last minute, and he missed. But without him, they don't get back in the game.
Where would you like me to start with this game?
Anywhere you want.
A broad spectrum.
I've got a question for you.
Yeah, go.
What happened in the first half with the Bombers? Was it a really good performance by Mount Eliza in the first half, or was it the Bombers poor?
No, Mount Eliza ordinary. Bombers just wasted the ball. They were kicking with a strong breeze in the first quarter, weren't they, Dan?
Yeah, they were.
And they kept hitting a dead pocket.
So you said, Hulks.
And they kept hitting a dead pocket, and they just wasted and wasted and wasted. And then Mount Eliza, because they've got some quick people on the ground, all the space was behind them. Frankston did not speak behind the ball. They were very, very quiet in their communication, and they allowed the hit up. They were dropping off 10, 15 metres behind the hit up and allowed Mount Eliza to get over the back. One of the stats was that Mount Eliza, they had 26 shots from 41 entries. Bombers had 12 more inside 50s at them for the game. And that was evident because Bombers were dominating contested possession, but they couldn't get it through. Foxy was getting a lot of the ball, but he wasn't as efficient as what he had. Yeah, but he wasn't as efficient as he normally is. Foxy's a gun, and that's a great day, but he wasn't as efficient. And all right, Jared Grant, it was so good to watch. he had a disgusting first half. He had an amazing second half. Grandy, when he's one of the best players to watch you've ever seen.
But he's always been like that.
He dominated the game.
Even in the AFL.
He took mark of the day. He kicked the 3 goals of the day. There wasn't even a contest. The 3 of them were just out of control, and then misses the last one 30 out with 30 seconds
And he
to go.
also missed a shot at goal 35 out in the third quarter, a shank.
Yeah.
And then the second quarter into the open goal at the back, and he went for the dribble kick.
That's amazing, and that's what you go to the footy for. So Granny, it was.
But you can't criticise him because you got him back into it.
No, I loved it because you didn't know what was going to happen because it was so
great theatre.
polar. It was amazing, and not many people in Peninsula can do what he did at that time. Some of the goals he kicked were amazing. So. Yeah. Look, that was one that just let slip from Frankston, 100%.
Let's have a look at the goals. He kicked 5, and he was definitely their best. In fact, we're not going to go to those highlights, but Harnett and Fox also play well. Braden Elms, we gave best on ground.
Yeah, Elms was
23
best on ground.
Possessions,
Yeah.
very good on the outside, distributing the ball brilliantly for Mount Elijah. Jeremy Goddard, good in the ruck. It looks like Lewis Pearce. It's a sad story. Cappy's got concussion, and he's indefinite at the moment. He's in place since round 3, the former St Kilda player. He did a very, very good job. Khan Heratuku just looked like he needed the run after a month off, and Harry Pryor was okay, but I thought Goddard really held his own. He was terrific.
Sorry, can I jump in? And we've copped some heat during the week. This is a fact. I hate Mount Eliza Footy Club. Mornington Mount Eliza, and we've got a bit of stick, and people see my hatred for Mount Eliza. I do hate Mount Eliza.
Hate's a strong word. You have a dislike for them.
I dislike them a lot.
Okay.
They were unbelievable on the weekend. I was really impressed with Steve Bradle at quarter time. He was very, very calm in what he said to the guys, and I was really, really impressed with their even spread.
Yes.
They got some ripping kids. Bailey Breen is one of my favourites. He's an absolute... He hurt his shoulder, but he still ended up with 9 tackles.
Yeah.
He busts in like an absolute cat.
Tom Kelly, Jeremy Burton's very quick. The defence is solid.
I really rate what Mount Eliza are doing this year. Really rate what they're doing this year. And look, I don't know how far it's going to take them end of the year, but they're banking so many wins at the moment. They're going to finish with probably double chance at the end of the year.
You can't knock them.
They're great.
Every time there's a close game, I think they've lost 1 close game.
Yeah.
They keep winning and they keep working hard. They never say die, and they're coached very well. They've got a belief, those guys. And
Frankston hit the front in the last quarter, and we said they should run away with them.
Yeah.
And we thought Mount Eliza might need a bit more experience to get them back over the line. But their young kids stepped up.
Cam Price on debut, the captain of the under-19s, kicked 2. We thought he might have badly hurt his knee, but thanks to Anytime Fitness, he's just jarred his knee and he'll be right this week, which is great.
But the challenge playing against Mount Eliza is that they're an even team, and one guy might pop up and hurt you this week, and it'll be someone else and someone else and someone else. So they've got a real even spread. It's not you coach against them, and you've sort of got to really plan and go in deep into their team. You don't just go 6 deep. You've got to go like 12 deep into their team. Make sure you've got a plan because they can hurt.
They've surprised me this year, and I'm sure they have for a lot of other people. Like we went, and there's always that talk before the season starts, and I don't think Mount Eliza were questioning that. So I think it's pretty exciting for them. Bit of a young side, and they're doing well.
I think, obviously, within the 4 walls of that football club, they were confident they'd go well.
Oh, they're always confident.
Steve Bradle knows all the young players very well. He's coached them for a long time as juniors, and now he's got them as seniors. But, of course, outside, I think we didn't really know.
They had all the upheaval, if you remember, Dan. They had a big, like the board, the president left. The whole thing was up in the air. It took them ages to appoint Bradle as coach. Everything seemed to be a bit of a mess down there from the outside, but obviously from the inside, they were going. They knew what they were doing, and
the Bombers are not far away, Chris. They've just got to be a bit more consistent. The issue has been they've played 1 4-quarter game. That was against Sorrento before the lockdown.
Well, one kick. Well, if Grandy had kicked that goal, we'd all be saying that Frankston are challenging these guys and that, and it's going to be red hot when it comes finals time. And Mount Eliza would
they're still in it.
Yeah, but Mount Eliza were gutsy enough to pull that win out. It was fantastic.
My worry for the Bombers is, they're only a loss away from one of the top 3 teams of dropping out of contention for the double spot. And they'll find themselves in an elimination final at the end of the year.
It's always hard.
YC, Bomb Beach, and Mount Eliza keep knocking up the wins, and they're separating themselves from Frankston. They've just about got to win every game now to get themselves into a double chance. And, they've just got to play better. They've got the talent.
Well, they won a close one against Bomb Beach. They won a close one after being awful for 3 quarters against Rosebud, and they've dropped the close one here. So their record in close ones is about 50-50.
Yeah, I don't know. That makes an interesting finish.
They had some good players down too on the day.
They did.
Yeah. So if they had pulled that one, it would have been, Jag one out. Mount Eliza deserved the win.
Yeah, good one.
It was the Jared Grant show, and it's great to watch him when he's in full flight like that.
It's an amazing watch.
Well done, Spindles. Now, Dramana square the ledger with Red Hill. Red Hill won earlier in the season with virtually the last kick of the day in the heat on Good Friday. Dramana, as we look at the highlights again for HP and CP Electrical. Lovely shot by Ethan Johnston on the run. And they dominated early, the Tigers, but Red Hill found a way to get back in the game. And they're getting a few players back in regard to injuries. Dramana, no injuries. They've been pretty injury-free all year, according to their coach, Matt Price. As far as the opposition is concerned, they've had a few injuries, but they're starting to get their players back, Red Hill, which is good news because they were badly hit after about 4 or 5 rounds.
Yeah, they were.
Starting to improve, which is good.
Siverson played. That was his first game for, I want to say, 6 weeks, 7 weeks probably. Yes. So he would be good for the run. You know, they'd be disappointed to lose that game. Obviously, both teams needed to win that match, to stay in touch with the 5. So, both these teams now have got a battle ahead of them to make the finals. And you've got to win games like that.
It was a good performance to come back, but they gave them too much of a start.
Yeah, for sure. And, like John Ross was important. He kicked 3. Allsop just keeps playing well. He's really consistent. Billy Gertz, just 28 possessions, 34 hit-outs. Has anyone had more positions than him?
Lockie probably is the best one because they did you that day. Billy Gertz, he's a monster because you guys are that strong in the ruck. He's a monster of a man. He's playing some good footy.
Yeah, he's hard to stop in there. He doesn't. He's not super skillful, but he just gets the ball long. He picks it up, he kicks it long, and he's effective. Yeah, that's all you need from a big fella. Yeah. Get the ball, get it forward, and then he's having 34 hit-outs. That's huge.
So Nathan Scaglaroni's joined back at Red Hill full time now.
Is he? Skaggs?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a Mornington boy.
So he's left Frankston by all reports.
Where were you there, Goose? Should have got onto Skaggs and got him back.
They're still waiting to get Steve Morris back too. He'll be a handy. Harry Wynn Pope played pretty well on the weekend. We had him on the show a few weeks ago, Hulks, and he was wonderful. Of course, the grandson of the former Prime Minister, the late Malcolm Fraser.
Yes, he was
very good in the battle against Gertz, and Josh Mould had 24 touches. And Ethan Johnson and Ben Tovey kicked 2 goals each for the Tigers.
Can I say this is an uncontested possession game? Did you see the stats in this? They had, out of 296, 243 were uncontested at Red Hill. Out of 317, 268 from Dramana. They had 53 contested possessions and 49 contested possessions for Dramana. Bomb Beach had 102. That game combined had 102 contested possessions. Yeah. So they both play that style of footy, especially up at Red Hill, where they like to get the ball on the outside. And
they love to run and gun Dramana.
Yeah, whereas these guys are in contested bulls and try to be efficient. They grab the ball and then they try and work their way around.
I watched Dramana pretty closely against YCW. YCW beat them quite
easily. I watched that game too, mate.
But,
it should have been closer.
Yeah, but they just... They flipped the ball around too much, I reckon, Dramana.
Well, they did over-possession that day.
And you play aside, those two teams that day were YC have probably got lower possessions than... I think they're 6th or 7th in possessions in the ladder, but sitting on top of the ladder. And then you've got Dramana, who nearly doubled the possessions of YC. YC still won comfortably.
Do you find that against those two teams?
I found against Dramana that they used it a lot, but it worked. Yeah. So... It was one of those ones. Yeah, you're watching and they're super quick. They get it to their runners and they just go.
Red Hill are the same though.
Similar. Yeah, and we're a bit different. We're trying to control the ball. But Dramana against us, they opened us up a bit and took off and a bit too quick for that day. And I think it was wet again and they seem to have something over us in the wet. They've done that to us a couple times. But just, a bit smarter, direct footy, I think, from them,
Lockie Gilrenoof, our guest for Growth Syndicates Australia from the Bomb Beach Football Club as we go around the grounds now in Rosebud. return to the winners list. They needed a win after they'd won their first 3, dropped the next 4, and probably needed the break more than anyone, the enforced break due to lockdown. They completed their sweep over Sorrento, and hasn't it been a tumultuous month for the Sorrento Footy Club with Luke Tapscott no longer their coach, Lee Paholke in charge, Troy Schwartz, and also Murray Brown, former Fitzroy and
Cap,
Collingwood
you wouldn't even
player.
know that. He was in Queensland when that all happened.
Brother Jeff may become
Did
the
you
next
know that, mate?
president.
I was on the front page of the paper up there, mate.
Well, Murray Brown's also involved, former Collingwood Fitzroy player, whose brother Jeff is, of course, a big chance of being the new president of Collingwood at the end of the year. So Troy Schwartz back involved, but Lee Paholke is calling the shots, and they're hoping Luke Tapscott will play. Whether he does remains to be seen, but he needs to recover from injury.
You'd hardly think he'd play.
I've seen the photo
Oh,
of
they're
that.
still hoping.
Come on.
They're still hoping.
Come on. He couldn't play.
Why not? You go back and play and just try and prove yourself. I
Are you
think.
with me with this?
I think if he comes back,
He's not
with the
coming
greatest respect to him, I think it'll be good for his body. He won't have to worry about the team. He can get the body right. He can play a role at half forward. Beautiful kick, as we know. It's why he was taken early in the draft inside the top 20 back in 2009 at Melbourne. He can certainly play the game.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
I just don't think his being coach, it has allowed him to get the body right.
All right.
He might become a good coach down the track, but he may not be ready yet, Luke. He did say that a few years ago he didn't think he was ready.
If you want to unwind with this, I will. Go, Cappy, go. Please
Obviously,
jump in
Sorrento
before me.
think he's the right man for the job.
Who?
Lee.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking of Luke
He's
Tapscott.
talking about Luke.
Tapscott. Oh,
Yes.
sorry, mate.
Well, I mean, Lee
not
Paholke,
playing.
I don't think will play this year because he's got the 2 broken bones in the arm, and he's coaching under 17. So it'll be interesting how he goes. And that's why he's getting support like experienced football people and Troy Schwartz and Murray Brown around him.
If Luke Tapscott plays, he's a better bloke than me. Because you can't have a club lose faith in your ability to coach halfway through a year and say, we'd rather someone else take the reins, and you still be all right with that, even if you get your body right. I can't see it happening. Now, that might be something different. Good on Sorrento if they think that was the right move and it was going to be better for the club. Fantastic. But I'm not playing there.
Yeah, I agree.
There's not a chance,
I don't-
mate.
I don't know. I don't know the situation
Neither do
either.
I. I'm just looking for the outside in.
if
I can
I was
understand.
Luke, and I don't even know how it happened. Like,
Oh, you're in
I mean,
Queensland, mate.
But-
I mean, you feel
but if
you feel
Luke's been-
rejected. You feel terribly rejected. And, I mean, we all hate being rejected, and some
That's
find
what-
it harder than others.
Oh, I feel- yeah.
And I'm sure though that if he wants to play, they'll have him back, and they said they'll have him back.
Well,
and
I know
and he'd
he's-
be a very handy addition. Now I know that a few of the amateur clubs have been having a bit of a look too.
half
But he's
the
got
teams
to
on
get the
Peninsula
body
called
right
him.
first. He's got to get the body right first. Lockie, how would you feel? I mean, if you were in the same
taking the
position, and you were, let's say you were coaching. We'll just go hypothetical here. You were coaching Bond Beach, and it wasn't working with you as the captain coach. You're having a few injury issues, and they said, "Look, Lockie, we're going to move you sideways.
nothing
We're
to
going to
do
get
with
a
his injuries."
non-playing coach in with a pretty good panel around, which Sorrento have got, but we'd still love you to play."
Yeah, you'd obviously be pretty cut, but I think it does depend on the terms that it did finish up. Like I'm
Well
not
said.
sure
Yeah.
about what was happening in the club, but if they've had a discussion and they've worked out that that's what's best for the club, and Tapscott's had a say in that, which maybe he didn't, and he's just got booted out. But if he's had a say in that, then I don't see a problem with him coming back and playing. If they've just booted him out and it was unexpected, then maybe he has a fair right to be sour and not come back. But it depends what the terms of.
I've just had a look at Hulk's odds here on the iPad, and it's 180 to 1 for him to play again for Sorrento.
I hope he does. I'll be interested to get the people's views on Facebook. I mean, there'll be a lot of people watching our shows, they always do, and we thank them so much for their patronage every week. But I'd love to get their views on what they think of whether Luke Tapscott should come back and play for the rest of the season. At the end of the day, it's up to Tappy. I hope he does come back.
Hubs, do you know
Oh, well,
more?
he's been a
Do you know more than what we know about that
No, I
departure?
don't.
Or?
I'm not
Good
going to say.
question,
I'm just looking.
Lockie.
I'm just looking from the outside in, and what we've seen from the outside. If it was me and a side took me out of the position of they thought that I wasn't the right person to take the lead, but they still expect me to play, I'd be out the door. And that's my character. I'd be upset, and that's just me. So I'm
it's a
only
bit
going
of pride.
I'm only going from my point of view. I don't know what Tappy's situation or what his thoughts are, but I know half the peninsula rang him up on the next day and asked him if they want to come over and have a kick.
Oh, I heard that too.
Yeah,
but I don't think he'd come back and play with another team in the MPNFL is what I'm
Well, I'm telling you, it won't be Sereno either.
Oh, well, we'll wait and see.
Well, we'll wait and see, Dan.
I hope he does come back if he does play with it, in the MPNFL and he plays with Sorrento. But I can understand he's disappointed.
Geez, that exploded, that little segment, didn't it?
Yeah, that was good. But we need to talk about Rosebud. It was a good way to get them back in touch and also back on track and back in the top 5. They just needed to find a way to win and they got over the line, which I'm sure Nick Jewell will be delighted with.
Yeah, a pretty scrappy game by all reports. Like it ended up being a reasonably close game, only 13 points in it. Rosebud really needed that win. They started off like a house on fire, got injured, a lot of injuries. I think they'd lost 4 in a row up to that stage. So to get that win is really important. Sorrento also needed that win because of what we've been talking about.
All those injuries, Sorrento.
And but to their credit, they played 4 18-year-olds on the weekend.
Yeah.
They had a kid called Jarrett Hayden come in, was one of the nearly best on ground for those guys. I think Lee's taken the opportunity to right now play some younger guys.
And their points have been mid-20s. I mean, I remember we called them against the Bombers before the lockdown, Cappy, and they were 26 points against the Bombers.
Well, there you go. That's a huge shift.
42.
That's a huge shift for Sorrento to do that. So, and then Nick Marston did a good job. They're going in, but only just at the moment, Sorrento, and they're now got a big game every week. Sorrento, like they play Pines this week. Pines, I think that it was a pretty close game last time. Pines, they'll be up for it. They'll think they've got a shot at it.
No love lost between those two teams.
No. So but it's funny now. They're not at the top of the ladder. These two teams, they're down the bottom, and Sorrento lose this, they could be out.
But, I mean, Rosebud did a good job. Tom Baker, who always contests every week, along with brother Matt, kicked 3.
Yeah.
And Dale Marshall.
Dale Marshall was great. Campbell Husway played a great game.
He did. With inside playing.
Yeah, inside mid, showing lots of leadership. Apparently had a ripper. So, that's great. Now they've got to build on that and, keep moving forward. And I think they're sitting 5th, and so they've got to really fight to hold on to that spot.
And for any time fitness, gyms all around the peninsula, their injury list is a lot better than it was Hulk's before the break. So that'll certainly help Rosebud, who probably lack a little bit of depth. When their best team's out there, as it was early in the season, we saw how good they were against Sorrento and winning their first 3. They haven't been so good since.
Another thing in that game was there was an almighty Barney at half-time, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And there's been...
Talk about two sides that hate each other.
Yeah.
A few of those at first division,
I heard Mitch Hallahan got reported.
Did he?
Yeah. So
it's one that can throw him.
Yeah, so he may be out next
week.
Get
on the end of that. He can go.
He can go.
Yeah. I think he gets a bit of stick, Mitch. So, if he might have a bit of built-up frustration, so he might have taken it out. So if he's out next week...
Have you played both teams, Lockie?
They're in trouble.
Sorrento and Rosebud?
Yeah.
Yes, we have. Yep.
How'd you find them?
Rosebud, you touched up, didn't you?
Yeah. It wasn't huge margin, was it?
Yeah, they were going pretty well up to
No, they were going well, and then you touched them up, I think.
Yeah, it's funny because it's totally different this year than the previous years. Both those teams, Sorrento have always been strong, so I guess to verse them this year and beat them, it was a bit different. I enjoyed it.
There's that word, verse.
You hate that, don't you?
I just don't know whether it's a word, is it?
It's just kids these days, mate.
Lockie's more educated than I am. He's a school teacher. I most certainly am not.
Yeah, not an English teacher.
Can I say with Rosebud, it's really good to see...
Sport.
It's really good to see Tommy Baker kicking 3 goals because we've been critical of the fact that they've been contesting, but haven't hit the scoreboard. So for him to kick 3 is huge for Rosebud. And like you were saying, the injection of Campbell Huswaite can't be underestimated because when you put him in with Downey and Fletcher and those guys, it makes for and Batsanis, it makes for a formidable midfield. So well done for Rosebud to get that kick, and hopefully it kick-starts them back to where they were when we saw them round 1.
Yes, they were magnificent in the opening.
Vicious
game
they
of the season,
were.
Weren't they?
They would have beaten anyone that day.
They would have.
They would have beaten anyone. They would have beaten these blokes
That
that day.
form has sort of deserted them a bit since then, but I still expect them to come back, and that was a good win on the weekend to get them back inside the
Well
top
done,
five.
Rosebud.
Frankston YCW continue on in top spot, the only undefeated side in the competition. Look at Cabby smiling like a Cheshire cat in the corner with another strong performance against Pines, and we're up by 51 points at half-time. They continued on their merry way. They probably didn't win by as much as we thought they would. 69 points. Pines played a bit better in the third quarter. Cole Jacobson, Brendan Barfoot, Michael Bazine kicked 2 goals each for Pines. They were their only goal kickers. Luca Goonan returned from Casey, having a very good year when he's been playing with YCW. 26 touches and 2 goals. And they had, and that's the beauty of this football side, we know how good their defence is, but they had 13 individual goal scorers. Although you can tell us a bit more about this, Cappy. Matty LaFontaine, not one of them. He's left the club for the time being.
Yeah, no, so, yeah, unfortunate for the Stonecats here. Matty's...
He's gone to Mornington, has he?
Thank God for that. No, he hasn't gone to it. No, he's taken up an opportunity to move over to Western Australia so for work, and I think he's playing a bit of footy as well. So he's, had weighed up all his options and decided that's what he wanted to do. So he's gone for the rest of the season, which is a bit of a loss for the Stonecats. And
A bit.
yeah, last year's best and fairest winner. He's a
And
ripper.
one of my favourite players.
Yeah, one of mine too. So, but he's
Can he be adequately replaced, Cappy?
Well-
No, he can't replace LaFontaine.
I-
You can't replace him, Dan.
We've got. I'll bring up a couple of names for you.
Stop it.
Rowan Steele.
Or them? Wev or they have?
We. He's always we.
Oh, sorry, they.
He doesn't
Sorry.
understand. He's in the
Thank you,
media
Cabby.
now, so he's just still we.
I have a bit of trouble with that one.
I know you do. That's all right.
But
That's why we love you.
Rowan Steele,
Yes.
he's a kid
Good
up from the
player.
under
Yeah,
19s.
saw him against the Bombers. Very good.
Has had a great season. He's been in the side all year and kicks goals. He's clean, fast, and very hard to play on. Kids come in the last couple of weeks. Christian Zampas has come in. He's kicked 6 goals in the 2 games. So he is, really filling a hole. He's about the size of a jockey. Moves like the wind. He's really hard to play on. So the forward line's looking strong. Sure
Not
losing.
for Jackson Casey, he'll smack him up.
Oh, well, yeah, Jackson will need to have his rockets on his shoes that day. But, losing Laffer's a huge hole. But, the young kids coming in, they've got enough depth of YC to cover a loss. There's no problem with that. Can I just mention a guy who probably goes a bit unheralded is Smith in the ruck.
Yeah, he's been good.
He is an unassuming looking. Yeah, unassuming. You know him, don't you?
Yeah.
He's an unassuming type of guy. He just goes about his business. He comes up against the best ruckman every week and battles away, and he's doing a great job. And the midfielders at YC are loving him. They're getting a good use of the ball, and he's really working hard around the ground. So
Does he shout at the bar as well, does he?
I think he might.
How's his fitness coming along?
He's
these
getting
days?
better, mate. He's getting better. Yeah.
Is he another Hodor, is
I'll
he?
get in. I
You-
got
no,
into
not
it with
quite.
Frankston.
So you haven't played them yet, have you? Unfortunately, because of lockdown.
No, we would have beat him,
I love it.
but no, we didn't get to play him.
I love it. We
How
were
lucky
beaten
are
The
them.
Bob
last
Beach.
home and away game.
Easy.
It'll be the last home and away game before the finals. So it'll be a bit of a dress rehearsal for one of the finals. You think maybe even the big one, boys?
Could be. The with Bombay Beach, lucky draw how it's ended up. Fair income.
You reckon
Like,
we-
Lucky
oh,
draw.
you've missed in
You
the
think
2
we
weeks.
set it up?
You missed playing Mount Eliza and YC.
Come
So,
on.
reckon we started the COVID outbreak?
yeah, maybe.
that-
Yeah, you got a little power down there.
That might be lucky for those guys.
Can I just mention what a great game Guy Hendry played?
Yes, he played very well. One of our favourites in
Terrific
here.
play.
I watched
One of our
that game.
favourites.
He was playing down back, and if he wasn't there, that score would have been ugly.
Yeah, they did well.
He was putting himself in spots. He was winning possessions, and without a doubt, he was Pine's best player, and he was close to being one of the best on the ground in a side that got thumped.
Marshall's 40 didn't do it for you, or
Not as good as Guy's. Marshall was good, but
Yeah.
Guy was just unbelievable.
and Jacobson too was very good.
Yes, he was.
been
You're
a
reading my
player
bits
for
of
a few
paper.
years.
Nah,
Yeah.
I had the same thing because they're 2 of their best kids, Pines, and that's who they're going to build their club around for the next
Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah,
Let's have a look at Cappy's team of the week, the rolling team of the week.
Here we
Most
go.
valuable team, thanks to Jeff Wignall 4. They have branches in Mornington, Hastings,
Here
and
we go.
also Frankston. Do you want me to read it,
Yes,
Cappy?
please.
You do. Okay.
Hey, you're a Stonecat man.
Oh, really? You just worked that out?
From the back line, Matt Douglas, the unassuming, unobtrusive defender from Bond Beach. Shane Tennant at full-back.
Can we just point out that Shane Tennant hasn't played in the back line at all this year? He's been centre forward.
But he can play in defence.
Oh, he can.
Well, if I had him,
Happy with that.
if he was in my team, he'd be playing full.
Yeah, fair enough.
Kane Hawkins has been a regular on the back pocket for Red Hill for most of the
5
year.
intercept marks last week.
Very good.
Oh, BJ.
Brenton Credlin, who's one of Cappy's favourites, continues to get the job done. Guy Hendry could play at both ends. He's at centre half back, maybe indicating there's maybe a dearth of key defenders in great form at the moment. McLean at Bond Beach is good. Siverson hasn't played a lot of footy. Tom Kelly on the half-back line. He can also run through the midfield and play half-forward for Mount Eliza. Was brilliant on the weekend. And does. Thank you very much, the man sitting as the judge from the Muppets. On the wing is Sam Gilbert from Bond Beach and Danny Alsop, who's having an outstanding year. Been there every week. The best and fairest from Red Hill in 2019. Might be a chance of going back-to-back. Billy Gertz and the Ruck's been there all year, as is Sam Fox from the Bombers. Luca Goonan gets in from the Stone Cats. And Blake Mullane from the Stone Cats as well. There's a few Stone Cats, isn't there? Yeah. Half-forward line, Shane McDonald had 29 touches on the weekend, but more of a role play. Can you believe that? Khan Heratuku stays in the team despite not having his best day for the Bombers at centre half forward. Miles Paholke, best on ground for Sorrento, having a very good year at half forward. The forward line, bit of talent here. Trent Dennis Lane, Jared Grant turned it on, as we said, for the Bombers, and Ethan Johnston, ultra consistent.
Can I just say something?
You can.
Hawks reckons the second division forward line would beat that forward line.
Yeah, it would.
No chance.
They wouldn't do their shoelaces
Easy.
No chance.
You missed the bench.
Oh, come on.
What about the bench?
Yeah, I'll give you the bench. Luke Painter, Frankston YCW.
On your Lucas.
Great work, Luke.
Campbell Huswaite from Rosebud. Mitch Hallahan from Sorrento. And Alex Harnett from the Bombers. Now, that's a very good bench as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Lots of class.
No, a shout-out to Luke Painter. He's been back, I think it's 3 games now, and his form is getting better and better every week. I hope
his body can stand up.
He looks strong. Yeah, I've watched him. He's looking good. So,
is there anyone at the Stone Cats who doesn't look good and doesn't look strong and doesn't look fit?
I saw a bloke at the bar. He
was battling.
Smitty. Let's update the ladder now. And after 10 rounds, Frankston YCW, only unbeaten side, have had a draw. They're on 30 points, and they played the team they drew with, Mount Eliza, this week. Great percentage. Mount Eliza, it's not a great percentage, but they keep getting the job done. 4 points behind on 26. Bond Beach on 24 with the best percentage, nearly 200.
That's fair.
The Bombers, again, their percentage is a bit low. They were thrashed early in the year, well beaten by the Stone Cats, and they've had a couple of close wins and a narrow loss, hence why their percentage is just over 100. Then Rosebud, who had some big losses before the COVID lockdown for 3 weeks, their percentage under 100, but they're on 16 points, a game clear of Sorrento, just slightly better percentage. Andromana and Red Hill, who've got a poor percentage of 85. And then the two teams you would think battling to avoid relegation, both one win apiece. Edith Vale, Aspendale and Pines, with Edie Asp having a slightly better percentage.
Battle for fifth's interesting, isn't
it?
I reckon he can nearly lock in the top 3.
Yeah.
I reckon he can nearly lock in that top 3.
Yeah, I think he can too.
Yeah, because Mount Eliza's got that game and a half break over Bombers now, and then another game back to Rosebud. So, yeah. It's
that was my 8-point game last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, so was round 2 and round 3 and round 4, mate.
Well, let's have a look at the tips and see how many 8-point games we have here, boys. And good to have Lockie Gilrenoof with us here from the Bond Beach Football Club for the Growth Syndicates Australia organisation. Tim and the crew do a great job there. Thanks to Telstra Business and Technology Centre South Melbourne, our tips. And we'll start with Bombers and Edith Vale Aspendale. Early in the season, the Bombers far too good. You'd expect them. They've won a 4-quarter effort, Cappy. You'd expect them to be too strong again.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, they'll win this easy, I think, and it's at their home ground. They've got too many stars in that team to let this one slip.
They had a lot down last week, so there was a couple of individual performances like Granny and Foxy that actually carried them through to get that close. So I think there's going to be a heap bounce back. It should be a good win to Bombers.
Yeah, Bombers, too strong.
Absolutely.
Yep.
The match of the day. First against second. They had a draw early in the year. Mount Eliza got on top early and YCW fought back, but in the end it was locked. So it was a fantastic game of footy back in round 2, and it should be similar again. YCW hosting Mount Eliza. Cappy, why do you think YCW will win?
I'm glad you said that and didn't ask him who's going to win.
why I think YCW will win.
Why?
Is they're playing much better football than they were in round 2. They're a new team and it's a new group of guys down there, and they're just learning to play together now. They're getting better and better each week. I just think they've got too much firepower for Mount Eliza, and it's going to be a really good game, a really close game, and I'll be accused of being.
Yep, and I will do it.
Yeah, but I think YCW will win.
Yeah, I think YC as well. I was really impressed with what Mount Eliza did last week, and I've been impressed with them the whole year. So it's nothing against Mount Eliza. I just think YC are just that professional. They're just ticking all the boxes.
What do you think, Lockie?
How's the ladder looking? Who do I want to
You want Mount Eliza to get done.
Oh,
actually, no, you want YC to get
maybe
done
draw.
because you want to get top. So you want...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, draw to get them all back level pegging.
Yeah, let's go for a draw.
Yeah, could be a draw.
Yeah, good effort.
on you.
I've been raving about YCW's defence. Mount Eliza doesn't really have a tall forward. They've got a number of players who play a role in the forward line, and I think this is where YCW will win the game. So I'll pick the Stone Cats in what should be a terrific encounter. Bond Beach hosting Red Hill. Why will you win, Lockie?
Because we won last time, and we've gotten better. We've gotten better since then. Our ball movement was too good for them last time, and we've improved on that area. So I think again it'll be too strong.
Yeah, I agree. I saw that game. That was, as I mentioned earlier, it was a cracking game of footy.
Yeah,
it was a great. Red Hill will get their guys back, but Bomb Beach are flying. So. I can't see them losing at home.
No. I think Bomb Beach gone forward and Red Hill have gone back from where they were at the first time they played. So Bomb Beach should win.
Probably because of injuries with Red Hill.
Yeah, 100%.
But
it's just where they're at. Yeah, 100%. But I just think that's where they're both at the moment. So I think Bomb Beach.
Bomb Beach for me, comfortably. And Dramana and Rosebud. Now, this is the 8-point game, boys, in this round of First Division footy. Because if Dramana win, they go to the same number of points as Rosebud. Very similar on percentage. If Rosebud win, the 2 games clear. So that's how important this game is. Dramana at home.
That's why they call it an 8-point game, Dan.
Yeah, correct. Dramana at home. You are an absolute moron and lunatic. Nice moron and lunatic, but a lunatic. Now, Dramana play on that ground that's very hard to play on, Cappy. And that is probably where I think they might have an advantage.
I tend to agree. Both teams. This is a huge game for both these clubs, and it'd be worth driving down there to have a look. Yeah. But
you going down, or you'll go to
no? I
Cats?
think I might watch the top of the ladder clash.
I thought you might. Yeah.
But Dramana for me, only because it's at home.
I'm just still trying to do the maths on how an 8-point game works. If you go the 4 points up and the 4 points down, but anyway.
Would you want me to call it a 12-point game next week? That's how super important these games are.
Well, Campbell Husway go back up to... Oh, it's hard, isn't it?
Well, if he plays, that's huge.
If he plays, it is massive, and it sways it to Rosebud. Yeah. But again, Dramana...
Same as Sam Fowler, who played for Dramana last week. Didn't have a huge influence, kicked a goal.
Yeah, he's a stinker.
Still played, though. He's a very good player.
He still played. That's fantastic effort, Rat. Well done, mate. Collect your paycheck and go home. I will go...
I thought you're okay, Sammy. Even if Hulk didn't think you were.
I'm going to take Dramana at home.
Yeah, it's a tight one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a toss of the coin, Dan.
Yeah. And Sorrento and Pines. Sorrento just have to win to stay in the finals race, and Pines would love to upset them and get one up on Edie Asp.
I watched the Pines game via the GameFace feed last week, and they've got a lot of improving to do. They were, as I said, they were a bit of a one-man show last week. Sorrento, I think, have got too much firepower. It's not going to be easy, but I think they'll win.
Do you think if Pines wins that Sorrento make another coaching change?
I don't think so.
No, you reckon they'll be...
now. I think they'll be happy with what goes on.
I was just throwing a question out.
Yeah, it's a question.
Isn't that what we do is in the media? We throw questions out?
We do.
Yeah, okay.
I think there'll be a bit of riff-raff in that game. I'm calling it.
There should be.
I reckon there will be...
Don't you reckon the Pines boys will be getting into them lippy?
I reckon there will be a very lippy game.
Guy. That'll be a lovely time. When you love to just be there, on the wall.
I reckon that one, because Pines do love to try and get under your skin, and I think Sorrento are going to
they got the ammo.
Yeah.
I still remember 3/4 time at the prelim. Pines were already in the granny, and guys gone out to Lee Pahalke and said, "We're already there. What do you reckon?" And Pahalke's just stormed right at him. I mean, he just to try and get him off his game. It was theatre, and Pahalke loves it. And I will say one thing about Lee. Lee will take it, and I'm sure that the Pines boys will try and get into him, especially if they're in front. But Lee does take it. He knows that it's gamesmanship.
Sereno up for it.
They'll be up for it. No doubt they will.
I've always said that. I said I love watching Lee Pahalke play footy. Same as the Henry boys. I love it because that's why we go to footy. It's entertaining. It's awesome, and this will be great. I think Sereno will win, but
I do too.
I like the entertainment side.
Yeah, it should be a close game, but Sereno, despite all their injuries, to win the game. What do you think, Lockie?
I think Pines will win.
Oh,
There you
wow.
go. Well, thanks to Lockie Gilreneuve joining us from the Bomb Beach Footy Club.
We've got a late entry, Dan.
And we've got a late entry, have we, Tommy?
Yep.
What have we got? We've got something on the screen that Tommy wants to show us. Chris Holcomb drinking a beer.
That's a Coke can, I think.
It's not a Coke can. Well, if it's a Coke
You're
can, it's a
I thought
funny
we were a bit more
Coke can.
professional than that.
You're unbelievable. He's taking it off. That is ridiculous.
Oh, well, that's all right. And we thank Carlton United Breweries too for allowing us to have a lovely time on the Footy Show. We
Yeah,
thank
it's
all
amazing.
our sponsors, Growth Syndicates Australia for providing the guests. And tonight in Second Division we had Dale Larness, First Division Lockie Gilreneuve. O'Brien
good,
Real
Lockie.
Estate is our main sponsor. Jeff Wignall Ford looking after the MVT for Division 1, Frankston RSL for Division 2. Our injury update for Anytime Fitness, and of course they have gyms right throughout the peninsula and everything you need to complete your rehab and get back on the park. And Telstra Business Technology Centre of Melbourne South also looking after us for the tips, and player of the round, Frankston Jeep. We thank all our sponsors. Good on you, Cavi. Good to have you with us. Well done, Hulks. Good luck, Lockie,
Thanks,
for
mate.
this week and
Well,
for the rest
Lockie.
of the
Thanks,
season.
thanks for that.
We'll
Good luck,
see you
mate.
in the
Good
finals.
fun.
Looking forward to another great round of footy in First and Second Division on the Peninsula. Get your game face on.